Use the code CHICKEN in the shop.
Guys, we did it. We did it. We made it into the stupid diamond rank this season. If you've been enjoying the videos, and I want to give a big shout out to you guys over on Chicken Gaming. Really been making the streams a lot more fun, having the little community that we have built up there. If you guys want to be a part of it, all you got to do is go over to that channel and make sure that you subscribe to see all the live streams. So, also posting warships each and every single day of my entire life. So if you want to subscribe to this channel to stay updated on everything, make sure that you do that. Also, another big shout out to those of you using the code CHICKEN in the shop. Does expire every 7 days, so you are going to buy something. I appreciate it if you throw in a little chicken there for me. So let's move on. So here's where we're at. Now, this got tricky, but we were able to pull it off. And the thing was, we needed the shock launchers. I know in yesterday's video I said we needed the second sky shield. Shock launchers were what made the difference. They really shut down the Seekers, so we ended up just going against heavy chopper, rocket chopper, and once we were doing that, still ended up building an anti-seeker base. But what I did too was I switched my multi-node here from flamethrowers to cannons. So that made it a little bit not impossible for the heavy chopper, for the HCRC to run through it, but definitely slowed them down a little bit, adding the shock launchers, adding extra cannons, and then stealing another shout out to Mr. Jonah, stealing his base. And yeah, it's definitely solid. So if you guys are looking for a base and you're at 5 ER, even if you don't have all these defenses, I would still recommend something similar to this. If you want to take a screenshot, go ahead. And yeah, so now, first, let's talk about what we want to do. We'll talk about the attack next, and then we'll talk about what we want to do next on the tech tree. So it's pretty straightforward from here. One thing I would advise against that a lot of people have told me didn't actually help them was getting this GBE node. Now, GBE is very tight this season, but from what I'm hearing, it hasn't been a super helpful thing to unlock. And for 22 keys, you know, we can spend those elsewhere. So let's move forward and look down. So rocket launchers again. We still don't really have a great use for them. Maybe not at all this season because, I mean, we got heavy choppers. Most of us got heavy choppers before even thinking about getting rocket launchers. So I would stay away from them until maybe like down the road once we're using. They could be good against bombardiers, which are coming up pretty soon. So I don't think it's a bad investment if you got them. It's just for right now, they're not super helpful. So I would hold off on that. Shock bombs are looking pretty enticing. Seekers, obviously, I'm going to skip as their window is kind of coming to a close now. Except for the pros that'll use them all season. I mean, there's still things you can do: heavy chopper, bullet, seeker. But I think most people Gen Pop are going to be going towards bombardiers. That's definitely what my next plan is. I think. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. So what we want to do here is we want to go Sky Shield number 2, or if you are getting hit with Seekers a lot, the hot pot under the first Sky Shield that we got earlier in the season, that's a great defense against the Seekers. And if you put it up back in the corner, I know Cameron's doing this, that's a pretty hard Seeker shutdown right there because there's no way around it. It just roasts and roasts and roasts them. Obviously, if you have a ton of Seekers, it's not going to be able to stop all of them, but that's the idea. All right, so Barrage is going to help us too. That's going to make our attacks that much faster. Clear out some stuff. Maybe we can finally start barding out some Sky Shields that are in the way and just flare them a little bit faster. So you see, as we move through from 5 to 6, everything like from 3 to 4 was defensive. 3 to 4 to 5 was defensive. 5 to 6 is mostly offensive stuff. We got the one prototype, then we got Barrage. Smokes are going to be helpful, especially for the heavy chopper rush attacks. That's definitely going to be something that we can all benefit from as well. Troop health is going to be great. I think the problem right now is there's a lot of building health this season, so the attacks got like super slow and super grindy really quickly. And we have our 150 building health is actually just around the corner. But yeah, I think getting to the Doodlers this season, the Bombardiers, is going to be a good move. Especially as the bases get super dirty and heavy chopper, rocket chopper kind of stops working for people that don't have a hero. Yeah, I think Bombardiers are just gonna be faster. The thing with Bombardiers though, like when you look at these deck layouts, like they're absolutely atrocious for Bombardiers. But the fact that the hits are taking so long too, you kind of got to weigh that out, right? So, yes, the hits are taking forever. So maybe that doesn't matter if the bombers take, 30 seconds to walk up around the corner. Because then, I mean, they're pretty well in range of everything once they get there. So I think that's where I'm going next. It's hard to say. It's a little bit, down the road, but definitely something to consider. So, yeah, my next pick is going to be the Sky Shield, and then probably go Barrage after that. And by then, we should have a pretty decent amount of tokens if I don't spend them all on artillery. I think I'd rather get Barrage up to tick 4 than get a max artillery first. Because 4 and 4 is probably going to be a lot better than 5 and, 5 and 3 or whatever that would be. But we'll make that decision as we get closer. So that's pretty well it in terms of the tech tree for right now. You guys let me know down below in the comments what you've got, if it's working, if it's not working, or if you're on a different path. Always interested to hear that. Also, what your ranks and stuff are too. So let's go over the attack next. Now we did get on a pretty sweet run here. This was crazy. We got some really bad matchmaking here. 21, 22, and another 21. We did beat some of them, but it was pretty tricky. I mean, we were pretty close to 21 at this point, so a little bit frustrating. But let's break these attacks down for you. So now the 4AR cluster bases. Here's what we do: 5-3 heavy choppers and rocket choppers. And the most important thing, and it might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but I really think it's beneficial. So see right here, there's like 3 or 4 different things focused on this heavy chopper right there. So we can throw critters just to get them off the heavy chopper, and then switch back onto the heavies that they're dropping. So you see right there, those critters are obviously going to die really, really quickly. But look at this. Everything switches off. So it's just a good way to kind of get your targets to switch off of your heavy choppers. Because then when they turn back around, what are they shooting at? They're going to be shooting at all these heavies. Then our heavy choppers can continue to dump out heavies. If you're trying to do this attack against these clustered 4s and you lose too many heavy choppers off the start just because you don't have GB to protect them, and they're getting sniped by boom cannons and other cannons and things like that, then, that's... I mean, there's literally nothing else we could do with our GBE, so you're probably doing the same thing. But it definitely helps a lot, especially if you can get the critters to last for just a split second or two. So let's finish this one out in 4-speed. Pretty straightforward. One of these I actually fizzled on, and we still won somehow. I don't think it was this one. This one was close, though. So I hit the gas pretty hard here towards the end, and that was able to get us the dub against Nick's Destruction. And I think we needed to do that too, because he got a decent time as well. Alright, so next up, this was a tough base. There's 2 really good bases that have the double Sky Shield at 5 ER. There's this one, which was the second hardest to go against, and then the one that has, basically it's the same thing, but inverted, so it's at the top. And it's got the 2 Sky Shields, like, right here. Those were the 2 that I struggled with the most. And these attacks are pretty well the same, too. I actually switched on these going either 4-4 or 5-3. Usually on 5ER we were going 3-5, but as they got dirtier, as they got more defenses, it just became more normal to bring in more heavy choppers and less rocket choppers, because we simply needed them to survive, and it was less about the time. I mean, if you're close within that 220 range, then you're gonna be doing fine. And you can kind of take out heavy choppers and put in rocket choppers as as is working for you and the bases you're going against. For what I was doing, it was better to take it a little bit slower, make sure the heavy choppers are surviving, and yeah. So you see right there, I throw out those critters because there's no splash damage stuff left, and that's going to allow us to push and go for that last ER right there. You see we did lose a couple rocket choppers anyways, so you want to be really, really careful when you're doing that. And let's say, actually this guy retreated, and let's go over here against Mr. Labito. This is the last one that I just won. Again, another double Sky Shield base. Interesting layout, and I was experimenting a little bit with the drops, because if you throw all your heavy choppers and all your rocket choppers, especially on a base like this where there's a huge gap in between where all the defenses are, what tends to happen is your rocket choppers will actually fly in front of your heavy choppers. Now, I'm pretty sure I butchered this attack, and I flared them up like this, and the boom cannon took out one of my 3 rocket choppers to start the attack with. So, not a good start. But I opted to go up on the left side here, and yeah, that seemed to be the better play. Because the idea on these bases with the 2 Sky Shields is just simply stay alive. That's what it all comes down to. So throw it into 4-speed there. As you can see what's happening here, we got really good coverage here from the heavy choppers onto our rocket choppers, and yeah, we're just you see that one still wants to pop out. They're really hard to control, the rocket choppers. They are not easy by any means. So from right here, we start to hit the gas, and I actually lost a rocket chopper there from that sniper tower that had just a sliver of health left. And then by this point, we're down to all heavy choppers, so yeah, probably should have played it a little bit slower. Ended up costing us some time, but we were able to come away with the dub, and we got up to 21-20, which puts us at 10-9 in Canada, and 3-11 on the leaderboard. So made some pretty good progress today. We were actually out of the top 500 earlier on, so yeah. So that is the diamond push, guys. But we were able to make it just at the very end of the weekend here. So hope you guys have a great Monday, and we'll catch you next one. Check it out. Back.